So this time on a day in the life of a garden, we're going through the orchard. We got apple trees, we got pear trees, we got peaches, we got cherries, we got plums. Come and learn about the orchard here at Brucemore and what you may need to know how to maintain an orchard if you want one, or just one tree or two trees. My name is David Morton. I'm the Landscape Curator here at Brucemore. It's a 26-acre estate located in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and it's one of the few National Trust historic sites in the Midwest. And this show is about how to create this little piece of paradise in your own backyard. A day in the life of a gardener. Should I stay or should I go now? Go. So we're out here in the orchard at Brucemore. Yes, we have an orchard. We have apples, we have peaches, we have plums, we have pears, we have cherries, and there's about 45 different varieties of 45 different trees out here, all different varieties. This one I'm standing under right now is probably one of the older trees that was maybe one of the original trees planted in the orchard. It's gone through some different plantings because I think it was the Douglases that put the orchard over here. And you know, trees last most of the standards, 20 to 30 years. So I would imagine this one, just by the size of its trunk, is probably one of the original ones. There's not many of those left. We got hit by straight line winds in 2003, and so it was replanted then. And then we got the derecho in 2020, and we had to replant then. So many of the trees that are here are not original to the orchard, but the orchard is original. So let's walk around and I'll show you what we got around here. This is a young pear. Now it hasn't bloomed yet. These are semi-dwarfs, and what is good about semi-dwarfs is that they only reach about 10 to 15 feet actually, I should say. They do still require a ladder for pruning and maintenance. You do want to prune your orchard at least once a year, if not every other year. Sometimes I'll go every other year. It depends on the year and how well they're growing. But you want to take out some of the dead branches. You also want to thin them out. You also want to keep them, maintain them in a certain height, especially if you're working with dwarfs or semi-dwarfs. That's the point of having them, is to keep them smaller so that you can harvest them easier. Dwarfs are probably best for a small garden or city garden because they'll only reach 8 to 10 feet, and then you can still have some fruit. Now they'll all still take about 2 to 3 years before they're going to produce any fruit. This one here is about 3 years old now, and it's still not producing any fruit. Such is the life of a tree. We also have a peach tree, mini peach trees. This here is a peach tree, again semi-dwarf, but if you don't prune them, they'll get 20, 30 feet tall. So next late winter, early spring is when I prune those. And if you look up there, you can see a couple peaches. Again, this one is about 3 years old now, 4 years old, and it's finally fruiting. Much of the fruit was harvested already by Feed Iowa First. They come out here and prune them. Or not prune them, but harvest the fruit. We also have a cherry tree. You can see that we like to prune them, not so much for fruit production, it's for aesthetics here, but they still produce fruit. But what we'll do is we'll go in here and you want to take out any crisscrossing branches that you might find, of course any dead branches that are in here, and you want to keep it maintained to a certain height. Again, these are semi-dwarfs, so we can keep them at a 15-20 foot height and they'll still produce fruit for you. Whereas if you have a standard tree like that old apple tree that we were at before, they need to get much taller, like 25, 30 feet tall, before they'll start producing fruit. But they're harder to harvest and they need more space. Luckily we have the space here. This here is another apple tree that survived the derecho. You can kind of see it's leaning a little bit. The apples are still, most of them were harvested, but there's a green one there that will leave for a minute. See if it turns. plums. We have some plums over here. So here we are at a plum tree. This one's getting pretty old. It looks like they were harvested from July 1st already, but these are really sweet and delicious. They usually ripen about, end of July, beginning of August. They're one of my favorite pieces of fruit to come here and pick and eat right off the tree because they're just so sweet and so good. But you got to get them just right. If they're too green, they're sour. And if they're past their prime, then they're all kind of shriveled up and almost like a prune. And that's not good. So an orchard does require some maintenance. Like I say, you got to prune them to keep them at a height that's easy to harvest, unless you've got standard trees. But most people like to have semi-dwarfs or dwarf trees in their gardens, in the city anyway. And I prune them usually very late winter, early spring. With 45 trees, it takes about a month to prune all these through here. Again, you want to thin out any crisscrossing branches. You want to take them down a bit so that they don't get too tall on you. And then you want to take out any dead or dying branches as well. That is also the same time that a lot of people tend to spray them with an oil or a dormant spray. That gets the insects while they're still in their egg stage or they're hiding in branches and such. And you want to spray that before they start to bud out or leaf out and before it gets too hot. So just right above freezing temperatures is usually the best time of year to be spraying with your dormant spray. And that's the only time of year you got to do that. We don't usually spray them at all. So we don't have the prettiest looking trees on some of them, or the prettiest looking fruit necessarily. Because again, we're not growing them for production as much as for aesthetics. And it's beautiful. You can still eat them because and they're probably safer because we don't use any pesticides on them. We also have toyed with the idea of having a no-mow grass in here, or a low-mow grass in here. And I think that might be something we'll do in the future because we mow this once a week at least. This year we've had a very rainy season, so we've had to mow it more than once a week. The deer, of course, do like them, so we come through here and we will spray deer spray, but not necessarily on the tree so much as just around on the ground, because it's the smell that they don't like, not so much the taste of what you're spraying. And that way we're not getting it on the fruit in case you want to eat the fruit. But yeah, that's our orchard and it's beautiful. And if you're at Brucemore, you really need to come here because nobody walks in the orchard, and we've got little picnic tables and benches that you can sit and have a lunch, and nobody's going to bug you down here. Of course, now that we've posted this, that might not be the case anymore. But it's a beautiful orchard, and I would really highly recommend you come through here and check it out. So, fun little fact here. We believe that this area just up from the orchard that we have today was where the original orchard might have been in the Sinclair era. One of the oldest trees on the property is this old Chinese chestnut. It's been through straight line winds, it was through our derecho, but we've preserved it. We had it structurally pruned after the derecho. Because we wanted to keep it. It's one of the oldest trees on the property and one of the very oldest of Chinese chestnuts, probably in Iowa is what we're thinking, if not the world. But at least in Iowa. We had an arborist, city arborist, come out and look at it, and he was impressed with it and was pretty convinced that it's one of the oldest trees he's ever seen as far as a Chinese chestnut goes. This is the fruit of the Chinese chestnut. Very prickly, and when these drop all over the base of the tree, you want to be very careful not to be walking around here barefoot because these things really hurt. But inside of here is the actual chestnut. I'm not going to open it up because I don't have any gloves and it hurts. In July, beginning of July, end of June, beginning of July, they have these catkins, which are the flower, and they droop down. They're these beautiful little white flowers with a very distinct fragrance. Some people really like it, some people don't. To me, it reminds me of a barbecue, the smell of when you light a barbecue. So I kind of like it. It reminds me of summer, and it makes me think of Brucemore because I had never smelt a Chinese chestnut until I came to Brucemore to work. So anyway, this is one of our prized trees here on the property, and I would highly recommend you come and check this one out. Also, interesting little fact about this little area, this is where we believe the Douglas girls had their puppy cat club, which was a kind of a playhouse that was built out here. They would have little tea parties and some fun, as little girls tend to do. We hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to see more, hit the like button, the notification bell, and subscribe to the channel.